Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to you all. I hope you're feeling fresh and rested and again, ready to put that week behind us. Maybe there have been some really great things that happened. Let's build on those things. Maybe there have been some hard things this week. Let's just put them right behind us and let's go forward together. So I've got a really great presentation for you guys. I've got a bunch of new information and I'm going to go through the new information first, and then our guest Sally Wu is going to talk about college funding and the ways in which you can plan to finance college for your children, but also your retirement at the same time. And Sally has helped a bunch of our clients, and at times we work together. So I will tell you more about that later in the presentation. So I am going to get in presentation mode and then share my screen. I am going to find a way to minimize this. Down there. Great. Excellent. Well, welcome. Oh, this should be the 4th. Sorry. I thought I had fixed that. Oh well, wrong slide there. I'm going to fix that later on. So anyway. This is me, Amy Morgenstern, Blue Stars Admissions Consulting. It's our 10th year anniversary, and we're really excited about the work that we do that focuses on personal growth. And as a result, our students get really great admissions results. This is our team. I decided to add our team, the wonderful counselors. You can see our full service counselors and editors, Helen, Laura, and Stacy, as well as our art mentor, Aliza. Each one of our counselors sort of has a specialty in some ways, but we also share information with each other and best practices with each other all of the time. So it's also a very fluid practice. So just wanted to give a shout out to the team. Okay, today we'll be going for about 30 minutes with an informational presentation. I'm going to give you 10 minutes of rapid response updates, and then our guest, Sally Wu, will be talking with us for 20 minutes about college funding. After that, we've got a 15-minute Q&A. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up for what's coming up in the coming weeks. So on May 2nd, we're going to feature planning a coronavirus summer, always with our rapid response updates and the latest information, but also we thought it would be cool to just come up with different ideas and share them with you guys. And what I have in mind is to come up with different profiles of different students and maybe some, model fantasy summers to pique your imagination. May 9th, we're going to go over new trends in admissions. I got a great question a few weeks back about will the coronavirus be signaling a paradigm shift in admissions? And yes, the answer will be yes. What that shift is, well, it's information, but there have been new trends going on since the Great Recession. I have a previous lecture on that, and I think you'll find this to be very interesting. We're going to take a break on May 16th, and then on the 23rd, we're coming back with a new series on essay writing. And we'll be doing, again, featuring our rapid response information, but then we'll be doing one essay prompt a webinar. So we're going to be going through all of the UC personal insight questions, and we'll be going through the common application essay prompts. I'm really excited for that. That's just such fun stuff for us, so stay tuned. Quick note that this week's recording will be delayed because our student intern is busy being a student, and she's got a lot of schoolwork in the next week or two. So we have to wait for her to get some more bandwidth. All right, let's move forward. Let's get through this together. Here are our topics for today: impact on current seniors, impact on current juniors, and strategies for college funding. Okay. I do want to say there's a lot of information I am not sharing with you today because there isn't time. I did sit in on a webinar with the admissions directors from Washington University, Swarthmore, and Notre Dame this past week. Really amazing information. I'll be sharing that with you next week. Anyway, for now, will campuses be returning to normal in the fall? It's still an open question, but this is where some campuses are. Stanford will probably be going to give a recommendation in May. They're working with 5 or 6 different scenarios about different ways of approaching this. So they're discussing all sorts of things. They are thinking about starting the academic year in winter quarter and then continuing with quarters in the spring and summer. So that is something they are seriously taking into consideration. Jeff Selingo, our thought leader who runs a podcast, has a blog, has written books on admissions. He's basically saying colleges are in a waiting game and no one wants to be first. Purdue will be making decisions in May. Lehigh will be updating in June. Santa Clara University, right here in our backyard in the Bay Area, they intend to open. And then, of course, once they decide on what they're going to do, they're going to have to decide on a price. The other piece in this discussion is that the colleges who already have significant online facilities already, like University of Arizona State, these schools will probably be able to make these transitions in much more flexible ways. How will costs change? Well, from Jeff Selingo, we hear that probably they're going to want to keep tuition steady. And that's because their instructional costs remain the same. Remember, those teachers we fall in love with, that cost stays the same, whether that teacher is teaching virtually or in person, right? And then there might be increased costs because of technology. Some, however, predict that the pandemic will drive tuition costs down, not at Ivy League schools per se, but at schools where if, for example, they're doing a hybrid term or they're doing an online term, and then they reduce the costs for that term, people are predicting that it will be hard for them to raise the price after that. So, as they say, watch this space. Impact on current juniors. We've got new SAT dates, August 29th, September 26th, and then sort of back to normal here, October 3rd, November 7th, December 5th. The ACT, June and July, they are not yet canceled. I believe I mentioned that they were. I had incorrect information last week. They are not yet canceled. And it's rumored that the July will be taking place in California and New York. I haven't heard too much about June. And then you can see that they're going to be holding tests in September, October, and December. They're going to be instituting remote options in late fall, early winter. Wellesley has now joined the list of test optional schools. And here's the burning question that I think will probably be in conversation about throughout the summer, if not into the fall. How will the new test optional scenario impact an applicant's chances? I've linked you to an interview with the UC Director of Undergraduate Admissions, Han-Mi Yun Woo, and she says that evaluating an applicant's grades has always been a messy business. She suggests providing clarification in your application on how your high school grades were calculated. Regarding standardized tests, she says if the scores are such that it provides additional information about a student's academic performance, such as to supplement their GPA, then it would be used as an added value factor. But we're not going to deduct it in any way for anything that is missing in the application. So I'm sure you're going to have questions about that. We can talk about that later. We can talk about that in future sessions. This is a tricky thing. I've told you about the Pomona example with the SAT-2. It's a very similar scenario. How do you deal with this? We deal with this all the time. Okay, current college planning priorities for juniors. Here's some more information on school exploration. I did mention this Strive Virtual College tour fair that is going on. I wanted to alert you that this coming up week, for the next 2 weeks, there are individual presentations, college information sessions. So this is where you can sign up for them. They're also going to be recorded, so you could probably get them later. So this looks like an amazing tool for school exploration, just sort of piggybacking on last week's theme. Also on last week's theme, there was one question I did not answer, so pardon me for that. I do want to say, don't forget session 3. It's now on YouTube, so you can go back and look at it, and you can pause the video as well and just go through it in a very step-by-step manner. You know, step by step, that's a big mantra for me. Just starting with step 1, step 2, step 3, and the next thing you know, you have a sense of a college. And then when you do that with a bunch of colleges, the next thing you know, you have preferences. Some schools are standing out to you. Your list starts forming itself. Anyway, we had a question from last week. Can you recommend other resources? Yes. So I do want to say that looking at department, school, or college, or lab, or center newsletters, you can, find these, right on the web, the particular websites. You can also Google it. That will give you information that it's just not as easy to find. It'll give you more specific information, more current information, and information that's not quite as filtered by the marketing apparatus. Although, newsletters are marketing tools as well. If you wanted to get away from that marketing filter, then looking at the social media of the clubs, teams, and centers that you're interested in. So like the soccer, the intramural soccer club, the dance club, the women's center, the Asian American center. Look at the social media, look at the newsletter of those centers, and then look at the officers, look at the members, go look into their social media accounts. And that's how you're probably going to get the least filtered experience of the culture at that college. So I did want to share that tip. These are the resources I will be sharing with you. And although the recording won't be ready for about a week, I will share these with you. This first link, College Admissions Experts, that's where you'll find the interview with the Director of Undergraduate Admissions at UC. Colleges accepting AP credits. The Khan Academy, there's lots of really cool resources here for parents you can check into, and then the link to the college exploration videos that you can sign up for. And now for our main feature, Sally Wu, who's a certified college funding specialist. Sally brings an extensive career in coaching and financial planning. She's spent over 10 years specializing in college funding. She applies her unique strategy to help college-bound families save money on expenses while reserving their wealth for retirement by exploring need-based aid, merit-based, and tax scholarships. And I just wanted to let you know that in partnership with Sally, Blue Stars provides financial planning services for family. And the service includes an analysis of admissions options from a financial aid perspective, assistance with your FAFSA or CSS profile, and then exploration of need-based aid, merit-based scholarship, and tax scholarships. So if you're interested in that service, then please write me at my email. So that's the news of the day. And I'm going to switch out of the screen, and I'm going to find my Zoom controls.
Okay, this is Sally Wu. Let me share my screen, and thank you for Dr. M's introduction. And I have been working with Dr. M for a while, and I really enjoy her personality. She's so serene. And I myself have 3 kids. And I know that applying college is really, really, sometimes it's really intense. And then you really need somebody just to help you to be just like an anchor of the ship, right? Or the navigator to help you get through all this. So today, I'm going to share is how to maximize your college planning benefit, which I will introduce a dual track. And of course, the dual track means that you need to gain control of your college admission side, which Dr. M is the expert in that area. On the other side, if you also concurrently starting out early to plan or to understand how school assess your income and assets to calculate your EFC, and that's called expected family contribution. If you're starting to gain the knowledge of that, and you will concurrently taking action on the 2 sides, then that's the way to maximize your college planning benefit. And I myself, as I have told, that I have 3 kids. My first child, second child, they're already out of school and they all went to private colleges. And the tuition, I'm gonna show you how much is that. But I do plan for myself. Hence, I do not owe too much student loan or money out there. And the money I saved, I can save to fund my retirement fund. So I believe every parents, every family out there, we probably will have the similar mindset or on the same frequency that we want to send our kids to the school they like or fit them. But at the same time, we want to save some financial resources so that we would be able to retire with a peaceful mind, right? So that's what I think. If you are the same, you are in the same mindset as I, then today's message will be totally for you. Okay, so let's first see how much is the money is going to charge you now. And every year, this tuition, this we call COA, it's called cost of attendance. So including tuition fee, books and supply, your health insurance, transportation, personal allowance, room and board, everything all together, that's called the COA. And I've been in the business since 2008. And I have been seeing the price keep going up and up every year in the speed that is even faster than the regular official inflation ratio. So the cost of attendance is really high. Right now, if you go to UC, it costs about $40,000 per year. Can you imagine that? Private colleges, $77,000. And when my kids, when my first 2 children went to college, they starting is about $55,000 per year. But by the time they graduate, it's already gone over $65,000. But now they just graduated for 2 years, and now it's $77,000. It's just too much and too fast. Even state university, we think it's cheaper or the cheapest other than community college. Now it's catching up the price as a UC a few years ago. So you can tell if we do not understand this and we don't plan ahead of time, we're gonna caught up that we will feel so excited, so happy when we're kids get into the school that fits them or they like, and we feel so happy, we applaud. But on the other hand, we're starting to worry so much, how much money I need to get out from my saving to send them to school. And don't forget, those money are after tax dollars. You have to pay tax first, then pay, it means you have to pay IRS first, then you pay to the school. So how much is that damage? So we have to understand how we can fund the college funding without breaking our retirement account. So the next one, I'm going to show you that for today's attendees, you are going to plug yourself into one of the quadrants to see which boxes, which category you belong. Maybe you belong to those middle income family, but you have low assets. And maybe you are the middle income family, but you have high assets. High assets means that maybe you have some rental properties and you have a lot of investment in different areas. or you belong to the high income family and low assets. High income, there's no specific cutoff line. A lot of parents will ask me that because it depends on the COA compared to the COA. Let's say if your student's goal is just to go to community college or go to state university, and their COA is $27,000, $29,000 per year. So if your income is already over, I would say right now, over $200,000, then it considered a high income family already. However, if your students will set their mind into go to Stanford, Santa Clara, Pomona colleges, those type of private colleges, then your income can go as high as over $300,000. So there is not a definite cutoff line for high income or low income. It totally comparatively to the COA of the school that you want to go to. So the next quadrant is the high income and high assets family. Of course, their income is over $300,000 and they maybe have rental properties. They have other type of investments sitting there in their account to be assessed by school. So now in your mind, you should like plug yourself into one of the category that you know which category are you, and there will be different strategies to apply to the different quadrants of people there. Okay, so COA, we just said COA is composed of everything, right? So there's a direct cost, there's the indirect cost. And the direct cost, including tuition fees, room and board. Indirect cost, you can see that on the screen textbook, computer, equipment, personal expenses, insurance, and transportation. So this could kind of vary a little bit. For example, if your students go to NYU, which is on the East Coast, and you like them to fly over frequently, you want to see them, or even you want to fly over there to visit them. Of course, the transportation costs in your family will much higher than the students only visit home during Christmas, right? And also equipment. I'm gonna share my daughter's story later, and then she is our student. So she has that weird equipment, so heavy, it's not just a regular laptop will cut. It's a different equipment and material every semester. So that will cost you an extra fee on that. So that will be variable as well. But combined together, if you go online to search each school, you're gonna see they're gonna publish a general estimated amount that is called the COA. So you just in your mind, that's how much you need to get ready if your kids is going to that particular school. And another terminology is called EFC. That's called expected family contribution. So that's the index number that the school, after they assess your tax return, and also don't forget, you need to file the financial form. So when your students apply college, they're gonna fill out college admission application form. But there is another set form, it's the FAFSA for all school. That's the fundamental form. But there will be extra form called CSS profile, or we call institution form. That's another set of financial application that required by different schools. So your students need to fill out. That's their responsibility. But do not let your student touch that part. What they should do is to fill out the admission application and with their counselor working together, right? But for the financial form, I will not recommend you just say, okay, that's your job as well, just do it. It's a little bit complicated, just like filing tax return, unless your kids are already filing tax return with you all these years, so they understand. Because every questions on that forms is to try and either qualify you for some aids or disqualify you for some aids. So every question behind it, there is a logic tied to it. So don't think just, oh, just a form, we just filled it out. There is a logic behind it. So unless you go through our training, then you probably will have some understanding. Otherwise, you just blindly fill those forms, you just automatically maybe disqualify yourself. So on the student side, the form will ask you if your student has any income or assets. And on the parent side, they're gonna ask that same question as well, but they're gonna weight differently. They're gonna weight differently on the answer of your you put in, right? So for the students, if they are working, they earn some money, they earn some wages or salary, they will calculate it. But don't worry about that, because my kids also, I encourage them go to work and earn real money in the real world. Why? Because that's a very awesome experience that later they can put into their essay or even their resume, their brag sheets. That's part of it. Yet, as long as the income is not over, right now it's about roughly around $9,000, then you don't have to file tax yet, right? So then that's okay. They won't count it against them. But any students, like right now, I have students, she works as a model. She has an agent help her to get project to just walk on the catwalk or doing the Photoshop as a model for clothing. And she earns good income. I think her mother told me that her income will be over like 10,000 or sometimes even more. Then yes, if she keeps those money under her account with her Social Security, then yes, when she filed this application and file financial form, she has to report those money, and those money will count it against her. Means that she had to participate more on her own share, okay? And assets, students, you say, hey, my student doesn't own any assets, they don't have house. Right, they don't have any, maybe they don't have, maybe some already have, I don't know, and maybe they don't, but just don't forget, some parents or even the grandparents like to open maybe 529. Have you ever heard of 529? It's a college funding program, or just maybe some parents want to give them gifts. Maybe they do stock, they transfer the stock to their kids to teach them how to investment, or just open a checking account for their students with their students' Social Security on the top, which means that they own this program. They are the owner of these accounts. Then all the assets being saved in there will be counted against them, okay, as their own assets. However, if you open 529, but this 529 is your Social Security on the top, so you are the owner, yet your kids are the beneficiary of it, right? Then it's different. Then it will be counted as the right box. It will be under your assets. So you can see the weight is a little bit lighter now. It's a little bit lighter. And of course, because you are the bread earner of your family, so they will consider how many dependents that you have filed in your tax return, and your age. If you are like closer to retirement age and your kids just about to go to college and you have even younger siblings in your home, then the calculation will also a little bit different, because they know that you're approaching retirement age and your kids are still young. And also how many students are in the college at the same time. If you have 2 or 3 more students that they are overlapping during the college years, you will get a financial break as well. Okay, so for example, I don't know your EFC right now, but let's just assume, let's just throw a number. Let's say if you have 1 student in the college and the school, after they take a look of your financial application and they also verify with your tax return, then they calculate it. They think, okay, you need to pay, at least come up with $36,000 per year. Let's just assume that number. And if you have 1 student in the college, yes, that year you need to come up with, participate at least $36,000. If there's any remaining gap, then it's the school's responsibility to help you find the funding for you. All right. And let's say now you have siblings as well in your home. And then just like me, I have 3 children. My first child, second child, they are only 18 months apart. So I have 3 years. I have 2 college students at the same time. So let's say if my EFC is 36,000. So my first child get into college, yes, I have to come up with $36,000 per year. Soon as my daughter came into the college, then I have 2 students in the college at the same time. So for the next 3 years, my EFC was split by 2, which means that I only need to come up with $18,000 for my son and $18,000 for my daughter. Combined together, I still pay the same amount of EFC as last year. when I only have one student. However, because each student, I need to contribute a little, 50% less. What does that mean? That means I will get more financial aid from both of the school now. So you get it? You get the logic? So you have more students enrolled into the college during those 4 years, then you will have greater break, financial break. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to reveal the resources of financial aid. A lot of people in their mind, they were thinking, oh, maybe we are high income family, high assets family, so I don't think we will get any financial aid at all. Well, that is true and false. That's a true and false. Maybe on true side is that depends on which resources you are referring to, because there are so many financial resources that are open to every family. Of course, you may not get all of them, but you will get some of them, unless your condition is all meet, right? So number one, of course, is the government's grant. And the government's grant come from two sides or two ways. One is the federal resources, federal side, and the other one is the state side. And this one has a lot to do, of course, with your income and assets all combined together. They are going to review it. And if you pass a certain threshold, then yes, this will be phasing out. Just like we do our tax return, if you want to get some credit, you want to get some deduction, sometimes depends on your income level and then you may phase out. So it's the same logic. It's the same logic that apply. But number two, school grant. School grant is totally open to all walks of life, to all walks of income level. Okay, so it doesn't matter your income level. This one is open. And a lot of people this time will come up with a question. Does this have to do with my kids' GPA, with all their academic performance? And it's again, true and false. Some school, yes, they will focus on give out merit-based scholarship. So they will base upon your kids' portfolio, see if it's attracted to them. Yet some other school, they base upon if this is the students we really want to invest in. For example, my oldest son, his GPA is not very impressive because he is the student. His learning style is called, we call hands-on learner. He is good at watching, observing, and doing experiment. That's how he learns. So you have to allow him to make mistakes and he can learn. The worst way for him to learn is by just reading or just by hearing lecture. Sometimes it does not register into his mind. So he has a hard time, his struggle in his GPA. So his GPA is totally not impressive at all. Yet because he wants to become a teacher one day. So he studied in education, and in his department, they have special college scholarship just for the students who are male, because they want to encourage or they want to cultivate more male students. So as long as he keeps his GPA 2.0, yes, you didn't hear it wrong, 2.0, he is qualified. So my son gets that scholarship for 4 years. Who cannot maintain a 2.0 GPA, right? So he maintained that, of course, above than that, but still not very impressive compared to those high achievers. Yet he gets scholarship to go through all his colleges. So I just want to give you hope. There will be special scholarship or grant that you don't have to pay back. You don't have to pay tax on that, okay? And the number 3 resources is called work study. So work study, of course, is also an alternative. It's another type of scholarship. But just that your students need to, in exchange with some labor, they need to do some work on campus, okay? Just like a job, yet they pay you and you can knock down your tuition. And the good thing is that the pay is not like W-2 income. So you don't pay tax on that. And then you just don't have to calculate it into your income at the year end, and you can just use it, pay for your tuition. So that's a good pay. That's a high paid job, I would say that. And source number 4 is the subsidized student loan. And what is that? When you see loan, of course, you have to pay back. You just borrow the money. Yet you like the word subsidized. That means somebody pay for the interest for you already. Usually that's the government subsidized. So government will help you to pay for that. And government will partner with some bank, but this bank is specialized bank. It's not the regular bank that you can walk to Chase Bank or you go to Wells Fargo, BOA. You say, hey, I want to apply for student loan. No, they don't have that kind of student loan for you. So it's had to partner with government's program, and government subsidize all the interest for you. So during those 4 years, your students almost like borrow money for free of interest, and then that's become a good cash flow for you. So I definitely encourage parents to get that loan and to fund your college expenses. And the money you saved on that loan, you can just fund it for your retirement and let the money earn the money for you, right? So later you just pay back. So that's a good money for you. And resources number 5 is the unsubsidized loan. Now you see it's a loan you have to pay back, unsubsidized. So probably you don't like the loan because once you turn on, you accept it, the interest starting to incur, okay? Starting to incur. And then you have to pay back the principal and whatever the interest has incurred over these years. So usually I will not recommend parents to turn this on unless you really have a cash flow issue that you have no other choice. But if you do own a house, maybe you use line of credit or refinance your home, maybe it would be a better idea because your interest rate will be a little bit lower than just turn on or accept this unsubsidized loan. And number 6 is called tech scholarship. So tech scholarship is a little bit confusing to parents. Tech scholarship is this. As a tax resident, you earn money. You are supposed to pay IRS tax dues every year. Yet now your kids are about to go to college. So you are bleeding on 2 sides. I like to use this description, bleeding on 2 sides. One side you bleed to IRS. That's your responsibility. That's your obligation. On the other side, you bleed to school because your kids are going to get the higher or advanced education, right? So that's your responsibility as well. However, during this specific time, what we can do is to help some family, but not all. I have to say that, especially if you are owning 1099 instead of W-2 income, or you are a small business owner, you own a business, then you work for corporate. In this case, it's easier. We have on the tax side, we have more room to help you to cut down your current tax and defer. Again, it's defer the tax. It's not waive the tax. There's no way you can waive the tax, but you can defer to later and you pay it later. So now if we help you to defer some tax, then the tax saving right now, you can use that money to pay the school instead of pay the IRS right now. So like the bleeding on 2 sides, we help you to stop the bleeding on one side temporarily, and you can save the money to pay to the school. So just help you to stop the bleeding for now. And then later because there is some program, we can help you. And later you can control the bleed, okay? That's the way I can explain to you. Hopefully you can understand. Okay, so to calculate how much need-based aid you can get, this is just a simple formula. Use the COA minus the EFC. Is there any remaining gap? That's where you can come to receive the aids from the school that they will offer you. But the funny thing is that it's very hard. There's no way, actually not hard. There's no way for parents to control the COA because that's the number published by school. However, it's our diligent due and it's our responsibility to control that EFC. So this number is manageable. I won't say manipulate, but it's manageable. So what you want to learn is how you can reduce the EFC. Okay, which I'm going to go into that slide in a couple of minutes. So if we can control or manage the EFC, then the COA minus EFC means that you are creating a bigger gap. When the gap is bigger, that means that you have more chance to get a financial aid in different, remember there are 6 resources, and or get a higher amount of the financial aid from those 6 resources. So the second part, I'm going to focus a little bit on the school grant. The school grant is the money has nothing to do with your income and assets right now, right? Yet, how can you be qualified? Number one, I want to share with you is that each school, they have the huge endowment fund, huge. Some of the endowment fund is so huge that even richer, more wealthy than some countries that they can combine all together. Because all those old school has history of over 100 years already. And those money, they have special fund manager, we call endowment fund manager, help them to invest. And all the money they get, they have to use back all the gain every year, the interest or the gain that they receive. They have a tax benefit on that. And because they have tax benefit on that, so the government wants to make sure they apply the money back to the school, either to improve the campus facilities, or they have to fund it to their students. So every school, especially those high prestigious private schools, they will have lots of the school grant sitting there every year. They are looking for the right students to give out. And again, just in the beginning, I already shared, not necessarily the students they are looking for is the straight A students, the high achiever. They're looking for the students from different backgrounds. They want to give out the money because one thing in their mind, Dr. M will also agree, is that student body diversification, right? They want to admit all kind of students into their campus so that they will have multiple culture. That's very important for the school. So they want to seeking out the students to invest in the students. And if you don't understand these resources, you're gonna miss out big time. It's huge money out there that the qualified students can get. Okay, so the next one, this slide is very, very important for you to understand how school, what's their logic, how they assess that your assets to decide, should you participate more or you should participate less in your students' college funding. So from the perspective of taxation, there are only 3 types of investment category that you can put your money in. The first one is tax always. Tax always means that all the items in this bucket that you are obligated to file tax and pay tax every year as long as you have $10 gain. Okay, so even the interest is so low in the bank, but if you have a huge amount sitting in there and at the year end you have received more than $10 in interest, yes, even $10 you had to pay tax based upon your tax bracket. You need to pay that. And then second bucket is tax later. Tax later bucket is the money that you put in there that government will let you go for now. They don't calculate how much tax you owe right now. They let you grow in there. So your capital gain will add it back to your principal and continue to roll up. But until one day when we call it harvest time, when it's the time that you need to withdraw the money, then at that time, the principal and the capital gain all added up, then they will tax you on the income tax level. It's not the long-term capital gain anymore. It's the income tax bracket level, which will be higher. Of course, depends on your total, we call gross adjustable, the adjustable gross income, AGI, which depends on that. And the third bucket is tax advantage. So tax advantage is the item in there is that the money you funded those items is you have been taxed one time. Just like the money in the blue bucket, taxed one time. But if you remain the money in the blue bucket, second year, you pay tax again. Third year, you pay tax again. Going forward, you pay tax every year. However, if you pay tax one time in the blue bucket, now you reallocate into the yellow bucket, then forever and ever, the money grows in there tax-free from now. You don't have to, you cut off the IRS already. So for a smarter investor that we want to maximize our investment and reposition or relocate into different bucket every year. So we're gonna see how much money we earn in the first bucket. If we earn some money, we will try to allocate a portion into the second bucket and the third bucket. So that way your money will grow without the influence or the impact of the tax consequences. That way your money will grow even better, okay? So what are those items? Let's take a look. So you can tell the first bucket mostly is just your income, your real estate, or your brokerage account that you can do transaction on your own. Second bucket mostly has everything to do with your retirement account. So that's for your future use. And the third bucket combined, it's mixed. It has something that you can use right now and something you have to defer until you retire to use. So there will be different things. But among all those items, which are the assessed items? Which are the non-assessed? Non-assessed means that they will not calculate it against your financial strengths to increase your EFC, right? That's the non-assessed that will not raise your EFC. The assessed items will increase your EFC. Okay, so everything in the blue bucket, the tax always bucket, will be calculated to increase your EFC. Everything in the green bucket will not be assessed, so it will not increase your EFC. Roth IRA in this bucket and the bottom one, the 7702 program, will not increase your EFC. Municipal bond and 529 will increase your EFC. Okay, so now you understand which item will impact you, which item will not impact you. So the next one is to take a look of your own financial portfolio and starting to ponder and think, is that your will to starting to relocate your portfolio, okay? And if you are not sure, of course, at the end of the session, we will offer you a chance to talk to us. Of course, you're gonna talk to Dr. M first, and then we can sit down to go over your personal situation and give you some more mature advice so that you will have some information, then you know what to do the next. So this one is from the FAFSA side, even though parents are doing their diligent due, but it's very hard, I find out. A lot of parents, they still don't know this piece of information. It's just hard for them to dig out the information because it's very in some pages. It's hard to find out. But this one specifically addressed on the government's site that I want you to take a look. Investment include real estate, except your home. But rental property definitely will be included in calculate your EFC, right? Trust fund. A lot of parents say, hey, I don't own my own checking account or my brokerage account. I put it into a trust. Will trust funds count? Trust will count, okay? So trust, they will calculate that. And UGMA, UTMA is a special gift account that you open for your students. Money market, CD, stock option, bonds, land, even land, commodities. All these are the investment that will calculate against your EFC. So your EFC will be impacted. Also including 529, education plan, because this one is a designated education plan. So when your kids go to college, of course, they see that, they will say, you should participate from here. So I'm gonna share one story in here with you. One of my friends and also a client, but he came to me a little bit, I won't say late, but he already done something when he came to me, is that this is his situation. He has been saving diligently into 529 for his son. And when his son is about to 11th grader, he has accumulated about, I remember it's $120,000 in that 529 program just to send his kids to college, right? And his income is fairly good, around $200,000. So this is family that, yeah, they should plan. Maybe 529 maybe is a good program for them to save. Yet, you know, things is not definite, just like coronavirus. Who knows? There's such a thing happened that in the history, we don't see the things happen before. So does this parent. He saves so good, right? And he earns good income. Yet just at between 11th grader to 12th grader, his son is going to apply for college. He got laid off. And this income, $200,000, just gone in one day. And he wasn't got laid off in the beginning of the year. He was laid off at the midterm, which is around July. And so his AGI on his tax return will be around $100,000. And you know that that's totally will be qualified for all of those 6 financial aid. Those resources is open up to him. Yet because he has that $120,000 sitting in his 529, and you know what? His kid's dream school is Santa Clara University, and he surely got admitted into Santa Clara. And when he tried to tell the school that I don't have a job anymore, this is the only money I have saved up for my kids' education. And guess what the financial officer in Santa Clara tell him? He said, well, we know you need right now, but because you have this, you have to deplete this first. And then after this money all gone, then we can subsidize you. And that will be good for her students, at least for 2 years tuition. So he will lose the aids for 2 years. And if he can reverse the situation, if he came to me a little bit earlier, I will advise him maybe not to put so much on the 529. And then we have other program for him to save college fund, right? So in that situation happen, he changed his status, that he will still get financial aid. Now he can't. And can you imagine if those $120,000 is sitting not in 529, but into his other program, into retirement program, which will not be assessed by the school, then he will be able to retire and on the other hand, receive the financial aid. So that would be a better scenario. So planning ahead of time is always the case. Don't wait until, I don't know, I just play by ear. Until then, I will see. Well, until then, it depends on your situation. So you may just waste the financial aid for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years, who knows? So it's always the best advice is that taking control in ahead of the time. You want to sit on the top of the game, not just play by ear. The last bottom that I use a red rectangular box to box it that you can see. It's the money that you don't have to pay. I mean, you don't have to participate or be calculated against your EFC. So mostly it's the item on the second box. Remember the second bucket? That is your retirement account or the money, two items on your third bucket. Okay, so that's the thing that you want to know. Government already tell you the answer. They don't intend for you to just figure out yourself and then just like, okay, hide and seek and just figure out by yourself. Bingo, oh, I find it treasure. So I know they already out open book in there for you to know this is our rule. This is the game rule. This is just that if you follow it, that's the logic. If you follow it, you reduce your EFC. You don't follow it, we just calculate everything. So it's up to you that you want to learn more and find out more, or you just want to do whatever you want to do. And this is one of our students that he got admitted into Cornell, and we help him to reduce his EFC. You can see that family total contribution. His EFC is way higher than this, but we help them to reduce to $23,000. So that's what he needs to come up with his own pocket. And the school charges $60,000. Of course, this is 2013 school year. And so 16,000 minus 23. So see, there is a financial need there. That's the gap I mentioned earlier. So he has a gap. This family has a gap of $37,000. So it comes up with the aid from grant, Cornell grant, $32,000. Subsidized loan. See that? That's a good loan. They give the students $3,000. And another work study, $2,000. All this, except the loan, you need to pay back after the students graduate. The rest is all free money without owing any tax on that. So it's not a gain. It's just an aid for you. So you can tell that if you want to pay less and then you want to save the fund to your retirement, it's doable. But you just have to know the strategy and understand the logic behind it so that you will also be benefit from it. This is another of the students that he get admitted last year into Princeton. And Princeton, the tuitions are already really high last year. But let's see how much total aid the students gets. $51,000. That's the total aid. So he has received Princeton grant, $48,000. And see, this work study, 2,900. So altogether, they get 51,000. And the family contribution, again, the family has to contribute, is close to 23,000. So there's no way for you to avoid anything unless you are really, is that low income family that you are on government's aids on a regular basis already, maybe that you owe zero. And of course, I know for your income, if your income is lower than $80,000, I believe so this year, that your students get into Stanford, that you can waive the tuition as well, completely. Okay, so unless you are the low income family, otherwise a regular income family or middle income family, you will get some aids here or there. You may not get like $50,000, but you will get a fair amount, maybe 50% knock down the tuition, or knock down 1/3. That would be also good money as well. And this is another aid I want to show you. It's called the Cal Grant. It's that the grant from government. And this is one of our students in 2018 as well. And their EFC is fairly high because they have a lot of money sitting on the first bucket. But after the reposition, reduce the EFC, that's what they get per year, $12,000 from California grant. And then they can pay for UCs or even private school, it doesn't matter. Anyway, this grant is from California state. So it's a good grant. And this is another students. They are totally the last quadrant, the high income family and high assets family. This family has about over $400,000 in W-2 income, combined husband and wife. And then they also have 3 or 4 rental property out there. So this is totally high income and high assets quadrant. Right? But still, we help them to do the financial planning, and they get the school comes, but they actually have 4 schools give them offer. One of them is this. They also got aid from Chapman. Chapman is also a good private college as well. And this one, the University of Portland, also give them $84,000. And that was spread in 4 years, of course. But still, to this family, that's good income. And they can just save that tuition and fund it for their retirement account. So that's one thing, okay? So that's a good thing that you want to consider. So the dual track is all in here. What do I mean dual track? Dual track means that you need to, if you want to maximize your college planning in all overall, you want to maximize the benefit of that. You need to consider take action on 2 sides at the same time, which means that you work with Dr. M on finding out your students' passion, their strengths, their direction, their major, right? And their career, probably potential career. And from there, Dr. M and her team is very good at helping you to find out the school list that may fit your students, right? So they will come up with that school list, and then that will totally release you feel so intense that they will help you to release that anxiety. Because if you find the fit school list, actually the whole college journey is such a peaceful journey. It's a very pleasant journey. I will tell you that. It's not like what you feel, I am so nervous, I'm freaking out, I don't know if my kids can get into a good school or not. Work with a counselor. Counselor has been dealing with so many cases and so many diverse students and from different backgrounds and even personalities. So they have the experience to guide you to release your stress. They know, they see the light. So they see the road map. They will take you step by step, walk you through there to your destiny. So once you know your student's direction, once you know you have your hand on your hand, you have the proper fit school list, then also at the same time, the parents work with me on your financial planning, let you see where your direction is, and maybe we take some action. Then all combined together, this collaborative effort will maximize your college planning benefit. That's how I apply to myself. So I feel that I can share this information with the concerned parents out there, that you don't have to break your arm and legs after you feel you send your kids to college, that you cannot retire anymore. So it's important that you find a school that is not only just academically fit or matched, but also fit your kids' personality, right? Because each campus also has their personality as well. Some school fits certain type of students. Some students don't like, just like my son, he's an introvert. So the school he went to is kind of a smaller scale college, and they're all very friendly. Once you walk into the college, everybody say hi to everybody, just like a tight community. The students are, the attitude is so awesome that you don't feel threatened at all. You don't feel intimidated. But versus some other colleges, it's different. If you walk in, you feel people are like, they are doing their own thing. They are like, okay, who are you? We don't know you. So this will even impact the sense of belonging of your students, because this is where they are going to spend the next 4 years there. If they don't feel sense of belonging, they probably want to transfer out, or they want to get out of school as soon as possible. Then their potential will not be developed. So you want to find a school that also fits their personality and also financially matched as well, right? You want to really get into know the reality. Can I pay for it? Or how much aid I can get from that school. So I would say all the three are important. So the good thing, again, our philosophy is that you work with college counselor like Dr. M and her team on that part, and then you work with me on the financial part. So we collaborate, help you to drive you into the center area. Then that's how you get the best benefit out of it. Okay, so the next one, I'm just going to show you a little bit, share with you a little bit briefly story about my own daughter, because I have 3 kids. I've gone through this journey. So as a parent, not just as a professional, I want to share with you. I also want to share with you as a mother of 3 children that I myself gone through the whole journey. And my daughter, this is the drawing of my daughter when she was in school, when she was in college, okay? And she is a kid. When she was little, I already spot out she loves to draw, and she is totally an extrovert. She has hard time to sit still. Okay, she even told me she feels she has hyper attention deficit. That's what she said. She's just constantly running and running. So it's hard for me to nail her down. The only thing that she can nail down, and then she can take a long time without feeling fuzzy, is drawing. So that's her true passion. I can tell you that's even her calling in there. That's something, I'm a Christian. So that's something God created her, put inside of her. That's her raw talents. But during her high school year, I believe Dr. M will also agree. In our high school is very competitive. And all the students talking about is that when you grow up, you can be a doctor, or you can be a lawyer, you can be an engineer. At that time, they don't even talk about business yet, okay? They don't think business is a career or a major to think about. So only 3 types of job in the world in their high school students' mind. So my daughter, the thing is that my daughter, she doesn't like history, she doesn't like English literature, but her math, physics, chemistry, biology is all good. So she is more, like science. And based upon that, she was totally led to think she can only become a doctor one day, right? That's a natural environment that she grew in the high school. So she set her mind into that direction. But guess what? She cannot forget her raw talents. Keep calling her, bothering her, say, hey, me. hey, you should do this, right? So right at junior year, she just told me, she said, Mom, don't get mad at me. I don't think I can become a doctor one day. I still feel I want to do animation, arts, art design is my true calling. It's my passion. I will feel very happy, even though I don't earn much money. I just want to earn enough money I can get by, but I want to do this job, okay? I want to do this. So what can I say? As her mother, I don't want to see her suffer, because I do see family that I help with the financial planning, and because we do follow up, right? Because they are going to retire, so we still continue following up to do policy review. So sometimes I'll check with their students, and out of my surprise, I find out some of the students, after they graduate, they not even do the job that related to their major at all. Okay, some even drop out, or they have to change the major because that's just not their calling. So I already heard those stories in front of me. Will I try to force my daughter, say, hey, just go into the medical, you are good with science? No, I know she probably will not even pass the MCAT exam and really get admitted to a real medical school. That will be even more challenging then. So I do not want to defer the pain. I want to face the challenge right now. So of course, then we help her to get into a fit school, and then good at art. And now he graduate, and not only she graduate, she also get the highest scholarship in the school, because of her portfolio she presented, and also because her GPA is not bad as well. She is on the dean list. Unlike my son, his GPA is not good yet, because this is the school they want to have male students. So he was lucky get that scholarship. But my daughter, her GPA is also close to 4.0. So she was on the dean list, academic dean list. So she get both. So she get the highest scholarship in that school for the 4 years. And after graduate, of course, you know artists, right? So they have to go through their up and down struggling. And so the first year, if you are wonder how can an artist make a living, so the first year she just be a freelancer. So she has to continue to build up her portfolio, and we have to subsidize her finance as well, because she just live out and then live in close to Hollywood. But second year, fortunately, she got admitted to DreamWorks. Okay, so she worked on her project. It's called Captain Underpants. Many parents, many of your children, especially my daughter's age, they grew up with Captain Underpants. That's a comic book. So she was one of the author of the movie, which is showing on Netflix. And the third year, she got accepted by Fox, and then she's doing another cartoon show. And then she right now also doing the game design for many game companies. So that's her route, okay? Will she become rich? I do not know, because I'm not the industry people. I don't know, but I know she's happy, and then she takes ownership. Not only she took the ownership when she was in college, working so hard every day, trying to build up her portfolio and being an assistant to her professor. And once she get out, she would just work so hard every day to build up her portfolio. So I can totally see her from her, from her story. I got inspired. Even though I'm the mother, I'm supposed to inspire my daughter, but I was inspired. I'm inspired by her still now. I see when you have a dream and then you live up to the dream and you take action to pay the cost to let the dream come true, that is totally an inspiration. So I am the person who got inspired by her. And I still can see somebody who pursue her dream so hard. That's the person that I want to hang out with. So do not do not disqualify yourself. Doesn't matter which quadrant you are, take action is the only thing that you need to do. You can learn so many knowledge from Dr. M's. She has such a great diligently update you with the information every week, right? You can learn all the things, but if you don't apply back to your own situation, those knowledge will not do you any good at all. So me, I'm an action type of person. Means that when I learn something, I apply right away. And also, just like I'm a Christian, right? So in church, we go to church, we listen to the Bible study, we listen to the preaching every week. But if we don't apply into our life, we still cannot get the benefit out of it. Same thing. So in here, we preach to you and we walk the talk as well. Like I told you, I'm a professional, just like a Dr. M, but we also walk our talk. We apply whatever I have learned back to my own children, and I can reap the benefit. I see the results. So same to you. It's just we are all under the sun. Everybody is equal. So if you learn something, you apply back, boom, you get the results, okay? So do not pay sticker price. Those COA are the sticker price, just for your reference. Just for your reference. Don't pay sticker price. Here and there, you will get some knockdown and then save the money to fund your own retirement, okay? So I'm done. So I just want to share the screen back to Dr. M, and I really admire Dr. M, and she is such a serene person. And I'm telling you, if you feel that you are very, right now your emotion is a little bit unsettled, then you need somebody to be the navigator, to be the anchor, so that your ship is not rocking. And then I am very confident we have enough knowledge and professionalism to help you have a very smooth, peaceful cruise through your college application journey. Okay, so back to you, Dr. M.
Thank you so much, Sally. That was so information rich, also full of amazing stories that the audience knows to, if they're interested in your services, to connect with you first, to write me first, and I'll explain the process that we go through in partnering with families. There's also a dad, who, I think would be willing to talk with other families about our combined services and what it was like to partner with both of us. There are 3 children involved in this family, so there might be an opportunity there. I also do want to say that, a bunch of Blue Star students do get merit scholarships. In fact, this year, one of our students got a very nice scholarship. I don't remember the exact amount, but maybe almost half off at Oberlin. And we've had in the past, students have gotten scholarships at Columbia, research scholarships at Columbia. So, and, these weren't students that came from under-resourced families. So we've got a lot of cases that also serve as examples for what you're talking about. Thank you for the musings on your artistic daughter and the windy path that she went through, because that's so much a part of the Blue Stars culture, is that we let our students move around and we follow them. We let ourselves be inspired by them, and we put it together later on, and we find that they are much better adjusted in college because they're more aligned with what they want to do, even though maybe it was a rocky path getting there. And they turn out to be happier adults. So I really appreciate that message. And of course, we work with a lot of art students and provide art mentorship as well. I want to just ask you, and I think this question is answered, but I want to ask you this question that I get all the time, which is, if I'm a middle class, upper middle class person with a pretty high income, and I don't expect to get any financial aid, should I fill out the FAFSA? And let me give you a second part to that question, okay? So number one, should I fill it out? Like, is that just a waste of my time because we're not going to get anything? And the second part is, will a university count it against my child if I fill out the FAFSA? So for example, like 4 years back, we found out like George Washington University, where it said it was not need blind, but it took account of need. And in the end, it turned out that it was really admitting that the paying, the paying students. So I don't know if you have any reflections on that.
Okay, so let me answer the first question. So for middle income family, the thing is that if you ask your students go back to school as their school counselor, they will tell you by all means apply, even though you know you may not qualify. Again, remember there are 6 resources, so they may not qualify. Is the government's grant. And the school still want to see you have filed so they can disqualify you from the government's aid, so then they can trigger the school grant. Okay, now if you do not file any financial application, you are sending a message to school: we don't care about financial aid at all. Doesn't matter which resources coming from. I just don't care. So then if they admit your students and then they don't see you file any financial form there, then they will just send you the bill directly. But if they do see you file the application and then they see maybe you disqualify to get any need-based aid, means that the government's aid, you phase out, then remember the endowment fund part, the school grant part, they will want to consider you, because it's not on the need base. It's on the students we want to invest in. If we want the students in, they will do a good gesture. They want to send you a good gesture. But if you don't file it, you are sending that I'm not interested in the money at all. So unless you really don't want it, then you don't have to file. But if you want to find out which school is gonna give me some money, then you should. And also, I would say mentally, okay, or psychologically, for students, can you imagine when the school is starting to send you the admission packet, and they also say, congratulations, this is the aid you are going to receive. What does that do to your students? Even though you may not end up going to that school, maybe that's your choice, you don't want to, but how does that make your student feel? Right? They're gonna boost their confidence. It's so good. Like my kids receive it, especially my son, his grades is not so good, right? In high school, and remember when he was in high school, that's a very competitive high school. So if his grades is not good, he feel it's like hell that 4 years. He feel he's a background person. He just say, I'm a background person. Why? Teacher won't pay attention to me, and the high achiever will think I'm a loser. So he's feel suffering there. But yet, hey, I received scholarship to go to college now, right? Who is the winner? So afterwards, he went into the college. His confidence level just boosted up. I can see, oh my God, my son is saved. Okay, otherwise, I really feel in the high school 4 years, I really don't know where will he go. I as a mother, I just feel pain for him. But now he is a teacher. Can you believe he's a teacher? He's teaching now. So
yes, teens evolve. Teens evolve even if parents don't believe it's going to happen when they're in 9th grade. I tell them that a lot.
Right. So I would say, yeah, don't let people label you, but just think, if they received an admission letter with a award letter, you know, how good, what kind of good feeling that is. Number 2 question answer is that I know a lot of parents are concerned, hey, if my kids is getting discriminated or getting less advantage if they know we filing financial form. Just like Dr. M has said, actually, the more prestigious colleges, the more financial blind they are. They're proud they are financial blind. They don't really look, okay? They are just financial blind. But some colleges, because they have less endowment fund, so they are not like they really care, but we call them financial aware. They are aware. Aware means that they really need to allocate the money. They need to know how much students need help and how much money we have. If we have a lot this year, a lot of people donate money this year, or the gain is good this year, maybe I can make every student happy this year, right? So every student gonna get some money. But if we are tight in budget this year, maybe we will single handpick some and give them more, and other we probably don't give. But it's not that we will reject you. But if you are qualified, you academic qualified, they won't reject you. This maybe don't give you money. So yeah, they will take a look of that, but they will decide how much money they're gonna give out or how much students that in need they're gonna get accept this year. They're gonna do that. Yes, that's for the financial aware kind of colleges.
Mhm. So we have a few questions dealing with the 529 accounts, and I have one question that doesn't deal with it. So I want to ask that question first, and then devote the rest of our time to 529 accounts. And then this is such an amazing group with troopers where we've gone over time, but this is such great information. I think we'll wrap it up after that. So let me pose this one question to you. Someone is asking if there's an advantage to using cash savings to pay down a mortgage to reduce assets.
Okay.
So this person is middle class. They have some savings. They got zero financial aid due to some savings, and they're wondering if that will help.
Okay, so all right. So if you put the money into your home, remember, okay, well, remember I mentioned there are two types of financial form. One is called FAFSA. If you pay off your mortgage and you have a $2 million home, and the equity will totally be forgiven if your students go to the school, only use FAFSA as their financial form. However, if your students is going to school, that is also require you to file CSS profile or institution form, then the equity from even your primary residence will be calculated to increase your EFC. So the question becomes to you now, to me, like my son and daughter, when they apply college, I do not restrict them to apply only the school use FAFSA, not using the CS profile. I let them open up the school list. So when I do the planning, I want to do the most conservative one, means that I don't want my asset to show in either FAFSA school or CS profile school. So that's my choice. So it's up to you. Okay, up to you. So do I get myself clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay.
So we had a general questions that, I heard, let me just give all the 529 questions to you.
Okay.
I've heard that some financial advisors think that 529 accounts are not a good idea. I'm assuming you've addressed that in your presentation because it does count toward the EFC, but perhaps you want to add a little to that. And then there's a question on whether financial aid applies only to tuition or can it apply to living costs?
Okay. So,
and then one other thing is there's someone who's got a 529 accounts with a fair amount of balance. What are the options for repositioning the accounts?
Okay. All right. So first I want to answer about the living cost or tuition. Yes, the financial aid covers the cost of attendance. So if you still remember COA, they have tuition part and room and board, living expenses, etc. So the tuition applies to all. Anything related to the students, it will cover just the overall COA. It will cover those things. And as for 529, yes, a lot of advisor nowadays will not tell you 529 is a sole option. 529 is good for family that you are for sure, I'll say 100% for sure, your job will has no change. You will consistently earn high income as like over $300,000 per year. And you also have other brokerage accounts, stock option, maybe rental property, I don't know. You are consistently sitting in that high income, high assets category for sure. And 529 may not be a bad idea. But if you are like the parents I just shared with you, that he used to be a good income and good assets, right? However, job changed. Who knows? He has no control. So his box shift. So he was shifted to different category. Then that 529 become a sore now. It make him lose the aid. So again, the situation will change unless you are very, very sure this is the income I would definitely get. Even my kids go to college, all those college years, then yes, 529 will be good. So I would say any program that is designated for a specific purpose to use, is the the con is that it's lacking of flexibility.
So what about repositioning the accounts?
Yeah,
Are there
reposition. Yeah, there's several ways to reposition. Number one, I'm just sharing with my own story. That's the mistake I have made because I starting my college funding business in 2008. But prior to 2000, I already have kids, right? So I also listened to radio. At that time, I wasn't in financial industry, so I was listening to radio. They're just talking about 529. So I quickly opened 529 as well. So I starting to saving until up to 2008. I get into this business. I understand, whoa, I have been saving into the wrong direction. Then I stopped saving, but I already saved a fair amount in there. But remember, I have 3 children, right? So when my first kid get into college, and because my second kid is also very close in age, so good thing is that when I opened the account, I did not open with their social security on the top. We opened with my own social security. So my kids are the beneficiary. Okay, so that's a different story. So I'm still the owner. I can change it. So I changed the beneficiary. I transfer the money in my oldest son and my daughter's account to my 3rd child. So when they apply college, they have no 529. So they can get, but now my problem coming up, I still have money sitting there on my 3rd child. And now there's money in there. Okay, so I have 2 options. One is that if I can still plan that my 3rd child can get financial aid, then I would if I'm for sure I can get, okay, then I will just pay the penalty for 529. And I want to transfer the money out into my own retirement account. If I'm not quite sure I will get financial aid, then I will go through the scholarship route. Then I don't care about the 529. I can still later to pay. And also the 3rd one is more like, okay, because I did not really totally cancel the 529 account for my son and my daughter, the older son and older daughter. So I can transfer the money from my 3rd child back to the 1st child and 2nd child, right? So after met my youngest son get into the college, then I can just transfer back to pay part of my tuition, the EFC, because I still have EFC.
Right.
Right. So you can just transfer back and forth a little bit. Yeah, but they allowed to do that. We're not telling you to do things that's not right or shouldn't to do. But between 529 account, you can just switch back and forth, no problem. Or if you have only 1 child, you have no one to switch. You can switch to yourself. You can go to college. You can continue education, and you can just open one for yourself as well. But again, if you are the parents, then that'll be counted against you because still that's your money, that's your assets.
Lots of different interesting options.
Yeah.
One quick last question. My sister's son is going to college after the summer. Is it too late for any financial aid?
Depends on how you save your money. If your money is like all in stock or stock option, and now that it's too late for you to exercise, especially right now, the market is so low. I don't know your cost basis. So I cannot say, hey, you should sell it and then transfer the money, allocate the money to different areas. So I need to understand your sister's financial portfolio in order to give a better advice. Otherwise, I may give a wrong advice and then cause her even monetary loss. Then that's not good at all.
Well, thank you so much. What a generous offering this morning, Sally. So much amazing information and wonderful stories. And again, feel free to get in touch with me, drm@bluestars.us. I'll send a follow-up email with resources as well. The recording will come a little later, so you can follow up with me next week. And this has just been amazing. So thank you so much. Thank you to this mighty, wonderful, knowledge-seeking group hanging out with us for quite some time today. It's been really great. And if you have any other questions, feel free to just email me offline. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Have a great Sunday. Today's Saturday. Have a great Saturday, great rest of the weekend. Thanks. You're welcome, everybody. Take care.